this is what I think happened in our family. I see a difference in a man showing his anger and them learning how to handle it,
Mhm.
as opposed to not seeing a man get angry at all.
Mhm.
They've not seen that. You've not seen that. In a regular or in a household, you got a husband and a wife, and if the man gets angry, the children see him angry, and then they learn how to deal with anger. So if daddy is breaking up everything and all of this and that, then when he's angry and mad, then I think the children learn that too. But if daddy is angry and he's talking about it, and they see him working it out and not doing anything rational, then they learn how to deal with anger that way. And so in a single family household, like with mine, you didn't see you didn't see a man in there angry going off. And I never had that in my household because I never saw daddy angry. So I don't know how daddy dealt with anger other than privately, because he just never got mad about nothing. And I'm like, that's crazy. So we never saw that. So we didn't have a hostile environment or thing. Now I heard some things because my room was right next door to theirs. I heard some things, but to, out in the open in front of the children, you didn't see that. You didn't see it. But so when it comes to how to deal with anger, um, I didn't know how to deal with it, so I couldn't teach them how to deal with it. So they learned it from the streets or from the TV or from whatever they were watching, because it's like, hey, let's take an anger management class. Now you get take an anger management class because now you're at the end result. Now you're being punished for it. But to express your emotions, you can be angry. Go ahead and vent, but you don't have to break up nothing. Y'all saw me going off, but my going off was well, I don't know if you remember, but my going off was medication, reaction to that, and it agitated my anger. There's some medications that agitate you emotionally, and you're and that's what happens. We can take it, but we know what's going to happen, or what I'm saying. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm gonna be a little irritable. I'm gonna be a little irritable, or whatever. So it's just those things like that. So it's like that's something to me that you inherited, or I don't know if there's a gene or something like that, but it's like, unless I hear something medically to say, oh, this is normal, this is what regular people go through, or something like that. Other than that, it's like, no, you got that from me. You got that temperament. That's what I'm thinking. That's
Mhm.
what it that temperament, that tendency. You can go from 0 to 10 in no time, and sometimes it doesn't matter what it is. You can wake up feeling, this one of them days I don't feel like hearing nothing, or this. You just wake up that way, then you let that feeling pass, and it's like, man, I got to get control of that. But over time you learn, because then that means you got to learn yourself.
I think it's still on that tolerance level that you say, because just as a child witnessing you never really talking bad, but there were some things that you would say that would kind of affect me. But even still, I think it would affect them as well, even if you were to mention them, our dads, to us, and whatever you may have been going through at that time. Whatever your frustration was that may have rolled off your tongue or whatever, for us to hear it, we had to have an ear to actually understand, okay, well, maybe she's not upset at us, but maybe she's upset at them. But sometimes there were some things that was mentioned, and if their name was in the sentence, or they were in the sentence, or whatever was said, sometimes it was kind of like, oh, well, maybe she's upset at me too.
A lot of times I was angry at life and the way life was going. I was angry at all of y'all's dads. You making me do this by myself, and I didn't ask. So that angry part of me was getting, stirred up. and I had to fight to keep from saying something negative about him in front of y'all or them in front of y'all. So that there had to be a balance there. So when people say, "Oh, you're strong," I'm like, "You have no idea." But what you see is, "Oh, you're strong." But you have no idea what I had to go through to get to this, and hope my children don't be like this.
That was another thing that I was going to touch on with other people when I do another one. Is just being careful in how we, distribute our frustrations or whatever we're going through personally, maybe, and not to give it to the wrong person, because a lot of times that can cause a damage to that individual who may be the innocent one of it all. So
But that comes
even
back
too.
to communicating, being able to communicate as to where I with us now. I don't know if I set the platform or set it for you to be able to be free to talk to me, Mama. I'm feeling this way or that way or this way. So we didn't have. I didn't have that. No, it's this way. It's this way.
Mhm,
But some things y'all were picking up. I didn't know. Just like I didn't know. Well, like y'all reminded me of them
mhm,
even though you didn't say anything, you looked like them, and that was a silent reminder to me. People say, "Oh, you look mad, you look this, you look that." People notice stuff, but it's things like that that it's like, "Oh, okay, that wouldn't bother me." All I can do now is say, "Oh, I'm sorry for that," or
mhm.
you heard me say something, and you took it for you, and I was lashing out at him through you. But I don't think I was mad at them for who they were.
Mhm.
I think the thing that utterly pissed me off about them was the fact that I had to do that by myself. That's what I think the very bottom line is, why I was inwardly so angry at them. I had to work harder. I had to do everything. And even though y'all didn't know and you were not there, you were in a child's place. I begged for money, and when I said I will never beg another man again, I won't do that no more. I'm gonna do this by myself. That's when my bootstraps went on.
I
I ain't got to
think
beg nobody for nothing. But I do know, and I strongly believe, that if my daddy was here, I would not have had to go through that. So life was lifing and making me angry because I felt like I got to do this by myself. That's what was clouding me. So when I those moments when I would look at you, and I kept blaming God too. You cursing me because they look like them. Nobody will know a lot of the personal struggles that I had to go through in order to separate. They didn't ask to be here.
mm-mm.
They didn't ask for this. They didn't ask for that. And so I had to separate my feelings and not try to reflect it, but y'all still got some of that. I will never know all of what I got, because I don't know if y'all feel like we can't tell her about this, we can't talk to her. I think I'm stronger. I believe I'm stronger than y'all think I am. And I think I've portrayed some things that it's like, that's not really how I am. And that's why sometimes I feel like y'all know me, but you may not really, really know me, because I buried a lot of stuff that it's like trying to be the perfect mom.
I was just going to say, just to point out the learned behaviors or the lessons from me seeing you and how you dealt and what you went through. Like you said, there were some things that we didn't even see or witness and everything like that, because more than likely to me, it probably wasn't meant. But even still, just to give you your flowers, brownie points, kudos, whatever it is that I can give you as your child, as a reminder that that's what that's been for me too. as a single mother is just to, first of all, when you mentioned the whole I'm not gonna beg nobody for nothing, really, that's
Yeah.
kind of the mentality or thing that I took on. But
Oh
it's not
yeah.
to say it in an arrogant way. It's just so,
Right.
okay, it's just learning your lesson after a few times. If you get kicked down, or get discouraged, or what, basically the disappointment, if the disappointment constantly comes, then it's like, I'm not going to keep going down that road. I'm going to try to go a different way so that I won't keep feeling what I'm feeling. That was
Yep.
the one thing. The next thing is, again, I never really heard you badmouth them, which causes me not to badmouth Jazaria's dad, because it's something out of a respect, even though we may not like the person for whatever reason, or like what they did or didn't do or whatever. It's just still having that respect to
Yes.
let your child know, hey, it's still not your fault. Even though
Yeah.
you
And
didn't
that's
ask to
the
be
thing.
here, it's just a reminder for me to say, you know what, I'm not gonna cause my beef, or whatever you want to call it, with
Yep.
the adult to be lashed out on you, because then that's another situation that I got to deal with that I don't really have to.
Yep.
So, and then the other thing was, it's just in how you carried yourself when you did come in their presence and we were present. As of date, I did witness, you and my dad being in the same place, because it was in celebration of my child. It had nothing to really do with me. It's the fact that, okay, all bygones are bygones, differences are differences, but we are in the now. We are trying to show the younger person of the family in the situation how to really do it now, because I don't think a lot of y'all, if y'all, well, you have a lot of peers that you grew up with who didn't even have a mother and father in the household. That's something that you were blessed to have, a mother and father in the household. But there were a lot of, I'm pretty sure you can attest to it, that there were a lot of your peers who may have been jealous of you, but at the same time they had to deal in their own way with the fact that, okay, if I ain't got one parent here and I got the other one there or whatever, somebody was in a single mother home. So I was just speaking on their behalf,
Yeah. Yeah.
because for me, being up brought up in a single mother home, that's my story, that's my history. And so it makes you feel a way, because that's a difference, or compare and contrast now that I'm going to try to touch on too, that you can't really speak on, but yet you understand what your position was. Like I said, you had the mother and father in your household. Here I am, and here we are as your children. We're in one that only has one. We are in our right minds. We are pretty doing pretty well for ourselves, I would say, for the most part, if not for the less. But we're we're striving, we're thriving, we're basically, we don't give up. And that's another thing that I can say that all
That.
of us
Yeah.
got from you, is that if you get knocked down, you're gonna find another way.
It makes us stronger, but that's in us. And I do say that at times, um not, only to few people, but I noticed, I said they're not quitters. But I never looked at it and said, oh well, I didn't give up either. I didn't give up either. I fought too. It's just interesting that uh
And I hear it from both of y'all sides, really, because my dad says it as well. So it just gives me that mark to say that if they're not giving up on my mama's side and they're not giving up on my daddy's side, then I really have no excuse. And that's been the downfall of a lot of people, to not really notice how good, I guess you could say, we got it from both sides. If we could just take a second to see what strengths we're pulling from in order to keep going, because there are a lot of people that continue to easily give up and just be like, oh well, that's it. No, but if you know that it's coming strong on both sides, you got to pull from somewhere. That's why I keep trying to reach out to everybody that I can, and just get advice. I'm constantly seeking that, constantly getting answers, because back then I wasn't, like you said before. It's just like I could have spoke up, but I felt that there were times where I really, more so than none, I felt like there were times where I couldn't speak up, because of how my respect, I guess you could say, was set up. Because I felt like if I said something, then maybe that would
Oh,
come off disrespectful. So that's why I was just like, no, I'm just gonna try
right.
to figure it
Yeah.
out in my mind, and then
Yeah.
see how it comes out. But here we are.
Now, where did I get it from? I got it from my daddy. He was always working, and he wasn't. You never at home Monday through Friday and Saturday morning. It was like clockwork. 6 o'clock, Dad's at work. 6 o'clock, he's coming home. Wasn't no 7, 8, 9 o'clock, and so we had that image of you. You got to work. You got to work. We're strong and independent, and we're not to the point where you and I, we're not to the point where I don't need your help. I am woman. I can do it all by myself. No, we're not that. But we're to the point where life was throwing things at us, and we didn't have anybody to shield it, and no husband or man over here to take this and take that and let us just be pampered over here, and we're going to just be prissy women. No, we'll roll up our sleeves and we'll change a tire, and we'll do what we need to do, and we'll get in there and learn what's wrong with my car after being taken advantage of at a mechanic shop so many times. Then you start, that's where that research come in. You start reading and research and see if you can diagnose it yourself. That's not saying I'm gonna get out here and fix it myself. You just making sure if he talked to you in his mechanic language, you gonna know what he's talking about. That's a part of me as well. So it's like I don't want to be ignorant. I'm not going to try to do your job, but I'm not going to let you get over on me either. I'd rather go ahead and take a no and then just go on and let it be before oh, well, yeah, okay. I don't quickly trust people. And there's a whole lot of things that factor into that. But we are trustworthy. People can trust us. I'm going to hear what you say, but I'm going to go find out and make sure, before I lock it in to my center. As far as boyfriends coming in and out, in and out, I wanted in my mind to be where I saw other people and some friends, and I saw that, and I heard their children. Oh, mama's got somebody, and somebody's over there this time. And she wasn't paying attention to them. She was paying attention to her boyfriend. And I was like, well, I don't ever want to do that. I
Mm-hmm.
don't, and so, no, I keep that personal, keep that side, keep that. But there is some other tendencies that I think
Mm-hmm.
that you have that came from another side of us as women. Like my mama had it, and my daddy had it.